En esta ronda de Airmech, du 95.99 y Turkleton lucha MCcombat y Eric 692 de Thar.
Is it in yet? We're good. We're live. Spinnins. Thar. Pumpkin bombs. Probes. Boomers. My mouse is fucked up right now. I have to resolder it, but I haven't done it yet. So if my shit fucking spazzes out and it ruins your video viewing experience more than it already was ruined, my apologies. Pre-game antics. Couple of Dillos. Dillos coming really back into favor, and I'm more of a Longhorns kind of guy myself, particularly because when it comes to getting base drops in, these will fuck your day up a lot worse than Armadillos do. Just my .02. I fucking hate people who say just my .02. We're off. Those Dillos not moving in, not set to attack this power station, so they're being moved in manually by blue. Green's guys get there first. Dude taking some heat. It looks like not taking any more heat. Thankfully for him, Turkleton backlining him with that Neo gets... Ooh! Blue wipes out both dudes at once. Eric barely hanging on. MCcombat gets behind those fucking tanks. Lights him up with the striker guns. And now Green back in action. Eric grabs level right when he needed to. Dude and Turkleton focus firing. Well, not focus firing. High-lowing. Takes down MCcombat, gets the no off of him. Turkleton EMP striking Eric, keeping him on the ground. Him and Dude battle it out to the death, but neither one dies. And now MCcombat hitting the fray. A couple of Jackals just rolling in a little bit from out of nowhere. Unexpectedly, to me at least. Turkleton chases off Combat. Eric rolls in with a couple of those Armadillos, but in the face of two Longhorns, which I don't know if I've mentioned, but I kind of prefer Longhorns. They just don't last. Dude gets right in there with the fucking... I have to consider that children might be watching this and not just pepper my commentaries with fucking. MCcombat and Eric going for the high-low. Do wind up taking down Dude. Rockets much? Turkleton. Who's the spectators? I'm gonna tell them that I'm YouTubing it, and I don't fucking care if they approve. I'm doing it anyway. All right. My whole fucking flow has been thrown off. My usual narrative flow that is usually so insightful and chock full of strategic advice has been interrupted. Turkleton drops these probes on, and now despite the aforementioned relative ineffectiveness of these fucking... I guess it just will never stop. Armadillos running probes in while they're all parked on all sides of it. It makes for a very short-lived capture. Down south. Turkleton tries to breach this. Gets a little bit of traction on that. Everybody rolls in. It's a bonanza. Blue gets their dudes in. And they do need to hang on to this. They really are at a point where they cannot afford to give up another... certainly not one of their near outposts. That would be bad news to the bone news. Turkleton, and I've gotten a few games in with Turkleton. Spec'd a few more with him. And he is definitely a fan of that Neo harassment, despite the Neo guns not being particularly powered, over or otherwise. Stealths it in. And gets that drop in with the fucking Longhorn. I don't mean to keep saying fucking. I just do. It's a New England thing. And as you can see, that Longhorn banging that back door, just banging it. Getting deep, penetrating that back door with its longer cannon. When you've got such a long cannon as the Longhorn does, you can just penetrate that back door right in the rear. Any defenses are quickly breached, and the base on the receiving end is forced to surrender. Enough of that. MCcombat taking on both green guys. And he does get Turkleton, but not Dude. Oddly enough, because I still got it. And indeed, no. If he's talking about it as being the base, I'm afraid that that's inaccurate. I don't know. Anyway, back to the fucking game at hand. Blue. I will give Blue credit right now, because usually, and you see that, I know I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. They're going to high-low him. Yeah, there was no escape. A lot of times, one of the downfalls of the proer teams, and I would consider both of these teams fairly pro. I'm sure if you asked them, they would display that trademark Airmech modesty and say, I'm pretty subpar, actually. But in my estimation, these dudes are all pretty good. And what you're seeing defensive-wise... Well, we'll comment on this real quick. Dude tries to fucking take that outpost, and Combat doesn't really let him do it. Makes him take the walk of shame. I get that's going to be what it's called, the walk of shame. When a dude, when you try to capture his outpost, and then he shoots you up, and then you have to revert to ground form and then walk back to the base so he doesn't kill you. That's the walk of shame. I'm coining it. It's not really that shameful, but it... Whatever, that's the phrase. In just a minute, I'll make the observation that I was about to, but right now, it is jumping off on this east side outpost. Dude, letting it rip with that chain gun. A lot of fucking green guys here. You know, I'm not a particularly vulgar person in real life. It's just the way us New Englanders are. We just fucking pepper our speech with expletives, kid. But, perfect opportunity to say what I was about to say about defense. Usually with pro teams, they think they're so fucking cool that they don't even need to devote anything whatsoever to defense, and we're seeing the downfall of that right now on the green team. As Eric does get a drop in, manages to chop him up a little bit, not nearly as much as Blue got hit over the course of the numerous drops that primarily, I believe, Turkleton was getting in on them. Despite, in spite of the Neo really not being good at all for carrying, but with that stealth, able to get in there, do that damage. Somebody's stalking somebody. A couple of these infantry guys, they both die. But in stark contrast, and maybe because they've taken so much damage already, Blue with a pretty good. I'm gonna give this like a 6 or a 7 on the defense scale. Their side defenses could be a little better, but that front door is not going to take any appreciable damage anytime soon with all of the defensive units devoted to it. Dude, chopping them up with that chain gun. I swear to God. Well, it's a good thing that MCcombat was not allowed to use his rockets. Dude takes out a tank, levels up just when he needed to. Makes clicking noise. Awesome. Oh. So, folks, what we've got here is another backlining from Turkleton. And he picks I'm eating World of Warcraft 2. Hey! Slides his units around back. I think Yeah, it looks like he was just barely able to penetrate those shields. We're not going to fucking make any more rear penetration jokes. We already did it too much. I already feel dirty. But, Blue, hanging on to this admirably. Less admirable is their surrender of this to Green. But Green, to be fair, did blitzkrieg the fuck out of this. Due in no small part to the stealthings and EMP strikings of Turkleton in that Neo. Oh, MCcombat down to a sliver. Tries to take off, tries to avoid the walk of shame, and winds up getting blown up, which might be more shameful. From beyond the grave. I'm using one hand, aren't we all? Moving right along. Turkleton. Doesn't even need to grab that level. That's how pro he is. Here we go. MCcombat. Taken down. Unfortunately, the Viking dance / walk of shame doesn't really work on that Warthog. You can't really do shit about it. Eric issues what sounds